Thank you for tuning in to the Awakening. What's going on, Reggie?
Hi.
How are you?
Pretty good. And yourself?
I'm pretty good. So we got a bunch to discuss today. You ready? Hands down, you ready?
Listen, let me just say, I'm gonna put it out there, guys. I was just telling Shontal that my grace tank is pretty, you know what I'm saying? So, we done prayed, just went in before we got on here. So we're gonna see how I treat the people today.
Without the tambourine.
Yeah, don't, girl.
I'm just saying.
You know I got it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you ain't brought them out good enough yet on the show. We got to get the
I'm gonna have to introduce them to them.
What's her name?
I don't know. I gotta come up with a name. Not yet. Holiness. That's what we're gonna call her. Beautiful, huh? Lovely, wonderful. Uba. I felt that.
He's something else with himself. I just don't know. But look, so I know you don't too much watch this show, so I know I'm gonna have to just break it down to you in a little form, whatever. But I think that the topic for what happened on the show would be a good topic to discuss. When is it okay to bring your in-laws in your relationship? And when I say relationship, I mean, you got the co-parenting relationships, you have the marriage relationships, you have, them, to me, them the main two. And even if you don't have kids, you just got the regular relationship. So on Love and Hip Hop, one of my Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, which I love. I've been watching the show for a long time. But it's been this clip going around because I hadn't watched it in a while. But anyway, it's been this clip going around with the rapper Lil Scrappy. You know who Lil Scrappy is? Headbuster. He's some headbusters. Back in the day, I know.
I don't think I've ever heard of that name until today. I don't know the man of God. I've heard of this Headbuster song, but not in this version.
In the holy version.
Is it holy version?
The gospel version. It's okay.
Gospel,
but it's
hood gospel.
Yeah, hood gospel.
Hood gospel.
So one of the things that since I've been watching the show, Lil Scrappy is, like I say, he's a rapper. He has a mama, and they call the mama. Her name is Momma D. Momma D is dramatic. Momma D is something else. I love her. She funny.
I've heard of a Momma D. I wonder if that his Momma D that I've heard of.
It probably is. I forgot the name of the song that she extra came out with, but Momma D is a trip. She will have you laughing hard, but she makes up this function of a family like it's a queen. She the queen, and she got castles. She got a castle, and in the castle is her son. She also have a daughter, her grandkids, and stuff like that. But anyway, Momma D has always, they have a good relationship. Her and Lil Scrappy. They on the show, they're a good duo. That's his mama. And he tends to, in the past, he have basically confided in his mama. It's like one of those mothers that your mama is like your best friend in a sense. You can go to her and tell her anything. But the only thing about Momma D is she gonna leak out some stuff. She gonna say some stuff. She gonna tell some things to the outside. She ain't gonna keep it in the castle. She'll just, talk about it, express her feelings. So it made me think about just the whole dynamic of what goes on now in society when people get ready to get married or if kids involved or whatever the case may be, how people bring their mama into the relationship or their dad into the relationship. But Momma D basically, he confided in her with something and she went back and told other people. And so on the clip, it shows Lil Scrap telling her how he felt. And he basically was saying, she was like, she took ownership of it in another way. He said, no, it's how you raised me. So if you was to know anything about Mama D had a pimp house. She was a pimp, and she also was a drug dealer. I don't know what to say about this man. She was a drug dealer. So little Scrap basically told her it was how he was raised that affected him and how he loved now. I felt like, pew, that'll go with some people head. But the way he broke it down to her, I was like, I wonder how many more people, how many more parents, whether the in-laws or whatever, felt what he was trying to say to his mama. Because you have a lot of in-laws that don't know their boundaries. They cross them suckers. They jump cross. It's like the child can't talk to them about nothing without them either taking it to the opposite spouse or the baby mama or just being self-involved in it, instead of sitting back and nurturing the child and telling the child what they feel, or basically pulling the other person to the side and talk to them in a cordial and, like a mother or a father figure way. Like we don't have it. So when he said it's how I was raised, how would you feel if I could never go in my room? I had to sleep in the bed with you because in the next room there was drugs being sold. In the next room, basically, it was a prostitute and this, or whatever. So I was like, God, Lee, I always say bleeding on your kids can be a terrible thing. But her statement was, her excuse was she did the best she could. And we all know how you feel about when people say, I did the best I could.
Well, in case they don't know, let me remind them, refresh them, and introduce some. Hi, Reggie here. Um, I hate it when people say I did the best that I could. First of all, I'm just in a time in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I think I'd be here for the rest of my life. Just to be very honest with you guys, I don't think it's a season. I just think I'm here and I'm here to stay. I moved in, unpacked my bags, and I got comfortable. I'm just not letting people use excuses anymore. And I think that that is one of the biggest excuses that people use. I've heard it so much. Well, I did the best I could. Did you, though? Did you? I mean, let's think about it. If you drive from your house to Walmart, did you drive to Walmart the best you could? What do we do? There's always room for improvement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I hate it when people say I did the best I could. So then people might say, and I used to say that this was the better alternative myself until like today. You know what I mean? People would then say, well, I did the best that I knew how. More admirable, I guess. But did you really do the best that you knew how? Because you mean to tell me you didn't know? You might be a little stupid, but you ain't that stupid. You know what I'm saying? You ain't that dumb. You know what I'm saying? You got a little bit more sense than that. Un poquito. And so I don't think that people that's Spanish, girl. It's about the only thing I know how to say in Spanish. I can't even count to 5 in Spanish, but I know just a little bit. Un poquito. And so, true story.
What
And
about
so,
gracias? Gracias.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. You know that.
De nada. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Dora taught me that. So, real life, I never took Spanish in school, guys. I really don't know the language at all. But I will learn it though one day. It's a goal. But yeah, I did the best that I knew how. You got a little bit more sense than that. You just did the best that you were willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what that causes is for people to take responsibility. Whoa, because y'all don't be want to take it. Um, but that is what it takes, and we just have to be responsible. So I would say that she did the best that she was willing to do, as well as many of you who are watching. But I'm sure I don't know where this show is going, but something tells me we're gonna get there.
So basically, my thing is when we, one of the things that struck out to me
Can I
always
just
how
say
he
this?
do.
I
What?
have such a good time coming on this show. Boy, I just have the time of my life. You guys don't know how much fun I really have coming on here. Because I come on here and I cut up like cheese. My God, I don't have no regrets about it. And then I stop recording. We get done recording. And then I have to watch the show to edit. And I have forgotten all that I've said. So I'm
And
going to
how
go
you
back and watch
acting?
what I just said. And I'm going to just laugh. I watch our shows like 5 times because I forget what I say. And it's like, boy, why did you? Boy, I'm just having a blast. I'm enjoying myself. My bad. I just want to tell the people. I just want to tell them that I'm enjoying this. I'm having fun.
Oh.
I see now.
Mm.
I understand more and more now why Judge Judy go on her show and act like she act. Go ahead, Shontal.
Not Judge Judy. But so when I thought about it, because one of the things that he did tell her too, he was like, the reason why you like, he said, blame your mama, blame your daddy. Don't blame me, blame because they dropped the ball. And I was like, that goes deep. Like he put it out there. But the way that she is, I mean, I mean, it's like they best friends in a sense, like I said before. But when is it okay to bring in the in laws? When is it okay for an in law to say, because really, to be honest, your in laws should be like your mom and dad too, right around. You should look at them like a mother or father figure and treat them. Some of them you can treat just like you would your own mom. I know some people that do more good for their in laws than they do for their parents. They
That's not
family.
a good thing, though.
Now it's not, but it happens. But at what point do people get like that? Like, why is it that people feel it to the point where they can put more love into allowing an in law in than they can their own family?
So what exactly are you asking me right now? Because I remember to bring my notebook, guys. So I got a bunch that we fit to talk about based on what you just said.
Hmm.
But what are you asking me specifically now?
I'm asking, at what point is it okay for you to allow an in law to come in your household?
So, and we're talking
Because
about
we're gonna go
figuratively.
back, because yeah, I'm gonna say one thing, because back in the day they used to be like, what goes on in this house stays in this house. So it's amazing that we say that to our kids, but we don't say it to the grown people.
Well, I will have to write that down. Let me just go ahead and get that out the way because that's a long phrase for me to write down. Because that's very toxic to begin with. What goes on? I think we've talked about this before in another show. What
Hmm.
goes on in this house stays in this house. That is very toxic. I will never. You know, I'm not saying anybody did a bad job, guys. When you watch this show, you really have to break the spirit of offense on your life. Because
That
people
part.
would think, and this is not just people connected to me. This is also people who watch you. We don't even know. You would be surprised. People who don't we don't even know. It's like, did you hear about us or something? Like, it's like 3 people in between us. Why would I know about you? Um, I will never. There's so many things. I just had to say. I've seen so much parenting. Not my parenting, but my parents' parenting of me. Um, I've seen other people in the family parent, how they parent their children. I've seen on TV how people parent. So I've just seen a lot of parenting. It's very out there, even on TikTok and Facebook and all that stuff. And I take mental notes of so much, and I say I would never do that to my child. Oh, I'll never say that to my child. Oh, I'll never. And I know what a lot of people are gonna say, or because I am not dumb to the things that people think. Many people are going to say, well, it's easy to say that. And it is very easy to say it. I think it's also very easy to do. It goes back to people making excuses. It's easy to say, but we use that as an excuse to make it a hard thing to do. No, there are just certain things that I see or hear or have experienced that make me say, my child will never go through that, especially not with me. And so that's one of those things that I would never say to a child, what goes on in this house stays in this house, because that's why I'm not saying that only. I'm talking about the black culture right now, because that's what I've experienced. So that's why a lot, and statistically, a lot of black people don't believe in counseling and therapy. And it goes back to what goes in this house, stay in this house. A lot of black people, we have seen so many get diagnosed with mental disorders, or even they don't get diagnosed, but you can look at them and be like, oh, something wrong, something is wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
Generational curses are not broken, just dysfunction. It goes down the bloodline. And it really goes back to one of the things goes back to is what goes on in this house stays in this house because you don't have an outlet. Outlet brings me to the mother-in-law that we're talking about, Mama D. So when is it okay to bring your in-law into the marriage? So a lot of the times we don't have outlets. I've seen so many people their outlet is their parent. Now is that a good
Mm-hmm.
thing? Cool. It's good in its place. But there should definitely be limits there, in my opinion. It's another one of those
Yeah.
things where I have sat back and I've said, okay, so how were in-laws? And this is something that I think people should do. I don't think enough people prepare for marriage in certain ways. And so I've listened to a lot of people and I've seen a lot of things to go on in marriages. And it's like, that really sucks for you. Like that's literally what I look at, and I just say to people, "Man, that sucks for you. It sucks you got yourself in this, and how are you going to get yourself out?" But there's a lot that I see, and one of the things that I do is I like categorize different things. How is this going to look when I get married? How will this flow? How will this go? And one of the things is in-laws. What is the nature of in-laws on both sides? How is it going to look in my marriage? And I think that it can be very risky to get in-laws
Mm-hmm.
involved in your marriage because you may think that they know what's best, but some don't. We boy oh boy. So we go to so much, guys. I think that we go to the wrong people. I think we go to people for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Some people may go to their mother for advice, and I'm saying mother because of this scrappy guy going to his mother, but it's applicable to their father, it's applicable to their sister, their brother, certain friends, their pastor, their co-workers. Some people go to people because of like proximity or how you feel this person should be in your life. And a lot of the times it's like, if you have nothing but failed marriages, why would I come to you? Now, some
That
would
part.
say, well, look how many times my favorite is in my favorite movie still. One of my favorite movies, top five of all times, is the movie Monster in Law with Jennifer
Jennifer
Lopez
Lopez.
and Jane Fonda. Love the movie. I've loved it since I was a kid. And so I've watched it over and over and over and over and over. If it came on right now, I would sit down and watch it. Every time I'm scrolling, whenever I had like the cable, I'm not using that, but whenever I had the cable, and I'll be scrolling, I see it on, I'm like, oh, I got to stop and watch it. I would just start it at any point. I don't care if it's the last 10 minutes. I'm gonna get the 10 minutes in. One of the things that Jane Fonda's character, it is such. I didn't even realize what I just said. We're talking about in-laws, and it's a show. I mean, it's a movie. Monster in Law. I was literally just gonna
Mm-hmm.
pick a little clip out of it. Oh, that is so hilarious. So in the movie, Jane's character has been married a bunch of times, and J Lo's character is the in-law. Was she's getting ready to marry Jane's son,
Mm-hmm.
and Jane is a monster. And so one of the things that J Lo said to Jane, because she was trying to give her advice on the marriage, the upcoming marriage, and she was like, "Well, haven't you been divorced however many times, like 4 times?" And she said, "Well, that's what makes me an expert." That's not true, guys. I'm just not
Mm-hmm.
listening to anybody who had a
Preaching to the
successful
choir.
marriage when it comes to marriage. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't never had money, why would I listen to you? Unless the only way I would listen to a person without money about finances is if you had money and you lost it all. Now we can
Right.
talk. Because what if you
Mm-hmm.
lose it? So I guess in the same way, what did you in your marriage to make it fail, perhaps? But let's be honest, when it comes to stuff like that, a lot of people, historically, from what I've seen, don't admit to fault. They put the blame. So you ain't saying nothing about Mama D's husband. So we go to people for the wrong reason, is what I'm trying to say. And a lot of the times people go to their mother because you feel that should be the person, but we have to really assess what is this person's role in my life, right? Because you said something earlier. I don't know if I wrote it down, but you said something earlier about. Um, I think you said that you should treat the. It's good to treat your in-laws like in-laws should be like your second parents.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but what are parents supposed to look like?
Well,
What
no.
is their relationship like?
What I said was some people tend to treat the
Their
in-laws like,
in-laws like
yeah, like
parents.
the original parents.
Right. But what
So,
what does that look like though as far as what is the role of a parent? Because we all here we read books, y'all read books anyway. There are books out there, there's podcasts out there, there's stories out there. I'm sure we talked about it.
hmm
Some of the things that it looks like to parent a child, like
hmm
under 18, under 20, whatever you consider. But so few people talk about what it looks like to parent an adult. We all know that that
mm,
changes. You know,
hmm
Maya Angelo, she was talking about her mom, and she was saying that she was a horrible mother to child Maya, but to adult Maya, she was the
she
best
was
mother
good.
ever.
Hmm
So that lets you know, it's one of the things that lets you know that there's a difference between parenting a child and parenting your adult child.
hmm
So what does that look like? And I don't think that you have to go. People who go to their parents for everything, they first of all they scare me. Second of all, I don't trust them. I don't, I don't, I don't, because that's the only person you go to. If your folks wrong, your folks off, and that's all you go to. You ain't get no other opinion but an off opinion. Nothing gonna change in your life. So I think that that should be a thing.
It's the fact that you
What
said
does
they scare me.
they do? Like you ain't got nobody else in your life. Let's think about this. Okay, let's do a commercial break here. You ain't got nobody else in your life that you can go to and confide in and ask about nothing to and talk to about nothing. You always gotta go to your mama. You always gotta go to your daddy. Ain't nobody else you can go to. Like you go to them and you trust them with your life. You trust them with everything. What they
And
say goes.
th-
That scares me. Like
and then it
I ain't got
messes
nothing
the
else to say about
relationship.
it.
Then it kind of messes the relationship up because you give when you go to your in-laws. One thing I had to learn: when you go to your in-laws, tell them anything, especially the bad,
Like because don't people
because it
normally do that? They go and tell the bad. They don't tell the
bad,
good.
right? They tell the bad, and then when the in-laws start treating that person according to the negativity that you done poured in their ear, then you want to be like, no, don't do that, or he done changed, or she done changed, or this. But in the back of their mind, they looking at what you done brought to the table, what you done told them. You done pour all a history. Some people pour so much into their parents where they don't look at it like they looking at that person as a freaking villain. Like you ain't for my child. You don't have, And I feel like that's when the lines get crossed too, because you done told them so much bad to the point it's like they feel like, okay, let me step in because clearly you can't handle it, the child. So let me tell you what you ain't finna do to my child. So let me check you right now and tell you the rules and regulations if you're gonna be with my son or my daughter. Because it's crazy. You allow if you don't set the boundaries and you don't set the don't always tell
Because isn't it no? So
mm,
that's what parents do, right? They protect their children.
mm,
That's something that it should be from in the womb to death, whoever that first. It should be something that never ends, protecting a child. And so when we think about it, I'm thinking about a couple of things. Like if you talk to your friend, because this is applicable to everybody. So I'm glad you brought
mm-hmm.
that up, so it don't look like we're in-law blaming. I don't want no
Right,
in-laws out there to
right.
think we just beating them up. I mean, if I'm gonna beat somebody up, I like to beat everybody up. So I'm not gonna beat up
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna beat you up.
He
I'm
do,
just gonna
y'all.
whoop
He do.
everybody till. I'm
He
just
do.
gonna go around and just pop, pop, pop. We in a Royal Rumble, and I'm coming out on top every time. So,
Knock him out then, boss.
so you know what I'm saying? Royal Rumble, the Rumble. So but no, seriously. So we have to put some of the blame on the people because when you, not the in-laws, the children, adult children, because when you tell your friend bad, 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 and y'all go through the breakup, and then you get back together, you can get mad at the friend for
Mm-mm.
still looking at your significant other upside
Mhm.
their head because you told them
Mhm.
all this bad. And that's the nature of friendship.
Mhm.
And so one of the things that I always say is I don't understand people who get mad at kids for kidding. I don't understand people who get mad at dogs for dogging. I don't get mad at people. I don't understand people who get mad at ducks for ducking because ducks gonna duck. You know what I'm saying? So why we can get mad at mothers for mothering, fathers for fathering because they protect. That is one thing again that should go across the board. So when you go and you just tell them all the bad, you can't get mad at them for looking at them as a bad person because that's all you've
Mhm.
done. And so that's why we have to be sober minded. This is why, first of all, the Bible said, cast your cares on God, not your mama.
Mhm.
Cast your cares on God, not your daddy. Cast your
Mm.
cares on God, not your best friend.
Mm.
Because God can handle
Mhm.
it. He know the person.
Mhm. Mm.
He just know him. Your
Mm.
mama, your daddy, all of them, they don't know him based on them. They know him based on you. And all you
Mhm.
provide them is with the negative. Well, I tell them about the good too, but the negative, a lot of the times it outweighs the good.
Outweighed.
If you hit
Mhm.
me in my mouth and then you buy me a Lamborghini, you still hit me in my mouth. You know? So the Lamborghini don't make up for hitting me in my mouth. For some of y'all would do, 'cause y'all can be bought, sellouts. But it shouldn't outweigh the getting hit in the mouth. You still need to leave. So I think that we have to take a look at, should I be telling them this? Especially when you know that your parent, or you see or have learned that your parent is not mature enough
They
or
one
strong
sided.
enough or healed enough, because a lot of them still are bleeding. They think they healed, but they still are bleeding from their broken relationship or from their broken
Come
marriage or
on.
from the relationship of the marriage that they still in
Come
there. You don't
on,
know they're
preacher.
struggling in. You know what I'm saying?
Preach, preacher.
So, I'm trying to help these people out. I just want the people to get free. Don't
Where my towel? Where my towel at?
don't
I
inbox
need a
me. Don't
tambourine.
email me. Just hear what I'm saying, and please, guys. Because it's something that's horrible. Like
It is.
in-laws break up households, and people don't
It.
realize it.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm. Because you
because can we
have
talk
some.
about? I just want to say this for an example. This is a very good example because I look at, I don't know her name, Mama Joyce, Candy, and Mama Joyce. So
Oh,
I've
I
seen a
forgot.
few clips. I don't watch that. I don't watch the show, but I've seen
Mama
clips
Joyce don't
just
play.
the other day on TikTok about, they were saying how Mama Joyce is a
Do
horrible
Todd.
in-law. And
Mhm.
they were talking about how she gets on stage and dogs Todd out. And then Candace talking about, I'm still going to defend her. That's my mama.
Mhm.
That's my mama. And it's like, baby, you gonna let her break up your marriage? You see, and the world sees. So it is a very good parallel to what's going on in a lot of households. You see your parent coming against and breaking up your marriage or coming against your spouse, but you still gonna defend them because that's your mama. I'm the type. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? Right is right, wrong is
Wrong
wrong.
is wrong.
Um, I'm not gonna defend you just because you my mama, my daddy. I'm not gonna defend you just because if you are wrong and we best friends, you know, you wrong. I
I
don't
know.
understand about the child thing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all get it worse. I don't understand. I don't know about the child thing. I don't know about that. I'm still figuring it out, and I'm figuring it out because I know Miss Robbie Montgomery. Her son. You know what I'm talking about, Miss Robbie,
Yeah.
Sweetie
Mhm.
Pie.
With sweet pie. Yeah.
Yeah, her son allegedly, well, he's been convicted. That's the only thing I say allegedly, killed her grandson. And so she said she's going on record saying she has to support her son because that's her son. Now I'm torn with that, and we're not going to talk about it here. But I'm torn with that because I don't know. I don't know how I would deal with that. I disagree with her, but I also see what she's saying. But I just bring that up because I'm talking big and bad about how you wrong, you wrong. I don't know that one. I feel like you still wrong. You still wrong.
I mean, I think her part in that is no matter what your child do, she's still gonna be there for him as far as his mother. Because you got some people
As his mother.
that, yeah, as his mother. Even though he wrong, yeah, which he is,
But my thing
and
with her though, she's never said that though. So
oh,
so
see,
with
I didn't
me,
know
I
that.
feel like I would still I feel that if you wrong, you're wrong, even to me. And I'm not gonna support you in that. I'm gonna support the side of right. But I can still be there for
I
you in a
think
sense. And that's only if you're my
for the
child,
mental
nobody else.
capacity, for your head,
Yeah.
for your mental capacity, let even though you finna do this time, and yeah, you wrong,
I still
but
put a
I'm
little
still
money on
your
your
mama,
books.
and I'm right. I'm gonna still help you here and there. It may not be what you want or whatever, but I'm gonna still have it. And I think that's where the problem with the in-laws come in too, with the dynamic of the child, because so many parents have their open door policy for their kids, but they don't know when to shut it off. Now you do have some people be like, "Don't come and tell me nothing about your spouse. I don't want to know
I
nothing.
think those people are the wisest.
Don't tell me nothing that they doing. You take it to that man upstairs, because guess what? You laid in that bed, you married that person, so you go to God and you ask them to fix it, and that's just simply as that. But it's something. But I think the main problem is when you also dealing with in-laws that's dealing with kids. You got some in-laws uh that do are like that until it comes to them grandkids. Then when it comes to them grandkids, oh baby, it's all gloves off. You ain't finna do. Don't let them grandkids go say, "Oh, granny, I don't think that he or a granddad. I don't think that mama new husband or daddy knew what." Some of them take it out because it's like they don't have a voice. They can't say how you know the adult they don't check their child about the decision. They just go straight to the person. So it's like a
You have to set up something. There has to be you have to be very careful when you start because how you start is how it will continue. This is why I'm
mm,
always careful about um when I start new stuff. Okay, so how am I gonna get it started? Because how I get it started, it's gonna be hard to change it down the line. So I try to think ahead. So this is why you have a lot of people who, out of excitement, this is why we have to be sober minded, guys. This is why when people get excited, they go off saying, "Oh yeah, we can do this. Oh yeah, we can do that. Oh, they can do this. Oh, we can listen to her. We can go here. We can do that. We can right here." It's because you're excited. It's because you're maybe trying to win approval. It's because maybe you're trying to get
mm,
in-laws okay. But you got it started with that. You opened the door to that, and now this is what you have to live with, unless you are bold enough, because I'm the one, you know what I'm saying? But unless you are bold enough to say, okay, this isn't working anymore,
mhm,
we're not going to be able to do that. Now, what you're dealing with is now she's going to be offended. Now he's going to be offended because you going against the grain that you created. You know, you laid it out like this and you going against it. And now this is what I'm used to. I'm used to having a little say. I'm used to having a little control. Now you want to take control. You know what I mean? And so
mhm,
this is why you have to be careful how you get a thing started because it takes a lot of work to break and reassess what is started. And then I want to say too, you were talking about how people in-laws feel like they have to stay involved in a relationship. That's because a lot of people, you believe it or not, don't have a mind of their own and they have in-laws or not in they
that's
have
true.
parents rather they have parents who
That's
they go
true.
to guide their life and they don't realize their parents are living vicariously through them. Their parents ain't got nothing going on so they're going to listen to what you got going on so they can live through you,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
We see this so much in so many different relationships. We even see it if you're not careful in marriages when it's rooted in jealousy. When one spouse feels like they're lower than the other spouse. Now they want to hear all that the other spouse is doing, so they can kind of live that. You got to tell them every part of your day. And
Mm-hmm.
not saying that this is everybody who, because some people just like to know about, they like to share each other's
Yeah,
day.
just like
But there
talk.
are some who want to know every part of your day because they get that urge, they get that rush, they get that adrenaline because they're living through you. Back to the in-laws. Some have to stay in it because you went to them and they're the ones who kind of led you to getting with this person. So now,
Mm-hmm.
since I led you to getting with them, I played a big part in you getting with them quite naturally.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
have something to
be
say.
head honcho in this. Um, and you guys have to really just set those people in line.
And
But we have to create boundaries, though. Create
yeah.
boundaries and set what things look like. What does this look like for us? Because if you don't set it early, what this looks like. So if you got a bad attitude, don't go to my spouse and talk to them about nothing. If you got some, come to me first because you don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
talk. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's a boundary. That's
Mm-hmm.
not saying you can't talk to my husband, you can't talk to my wife, but that's just saying to keep the peace. You come to me,
Mm-hmm.
and then you, the child, adult child, be strong, wise, and sober minded enough to assess it the way it needs to be assessed. Because some stuff your mom or your dad tell you, it might be rubbish. Because I got a little British in me. It might be rubbish, and you just say, well, you know what? I'm gonna let them vent. I believe in checking, right? So I think you need to check
Mm-hmm.
them because the Bible do say provoking not your child to wrath. So that just kind of. But then you might say, well, this isn't something I need to take to my spouse because
Right.
this is just uncalled for, or there's
Right.
a misunderstanding. I can diffuse this with my parent. So I think that there needs to be boundaries set to go about how will we deal with issues? How will we deal with situations? I know people who set boundaries and literally just tell their parents, well, this is my house. Well, this is my
Mm-hmm.
child. No offense. I ain't saying I ain't gonna listen to you, but because
Mm-hmm.
I'm big on unsolicited advice. I don't listen to it. And there are people who do put their foot down. They don't just coward and just listen to mama, listen to daddy, and then leave saying, well, I ain't gonna. They'll tell them, no, the boundary is this is my house. My
Mm-hmm.
husband do this. My wife runs this. My
Mm-hmm.
children do this. This is how we do it. And so we
Mm-hmm.
have to get to that point because um, having a mind for yourself. And I want to talk about because I feel like somebody's going to say that that's dishonorable. We don't have time to talk about what honor is and it's not, but honor is not letting your parents, because the Bible do say honor your mother and father. It is honor is not true honor, letting them your pastor either, because the Bible. I think we know what the Bible say honor your pastor. I really don't think I've seen that. But that's what people be saying, and I think that honor the man of God. I think it say something about that. But honor is not letting these people do what they want to do. Honor is
Right.
not letting them slide. You see them falling, you see them failing, you see them doing bad, and you just look over it. Ain't gonna say that. That's not honor,
Mm-hmm.
guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually dishonor because you
It's
letting them
enabling
walk
too.
right, and you letting them walk in wrong standing. You letting them walk sometime in sin. You letting them walk in malice, in anger, and bitterness. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so that is not honor, and we don't have time to go deep into it. But I really need y'all to do a study, like seriously. I'm being very honest. I really want y'all to do a study on what honor is and what honor is not. I'm almost scared to tell y'all that because there's so many wicked folks out there, like some of y'all mom and dad and pastors, who teach honor wrong, and they're on the internet just like they're in your household, just like they're in your church, just like they're in your ear. So I almost don't even want to tell y'all to do a study because some of y'all just use discernment. I don't know
I
what to tell
just
you. Just
can't.
use discernment.
I just
Jesus.
can't. That's why you got to really pray before you get married. Because I know for me,
Girl, I thought
I
you was gonna say that's why you gotta really pray before you get on the podcast. I
that
thought you
too.
was gonna call me out.
But you
That
got to
snake that I
pray before
call
you get
myself.
married because you want to be. I'm a Ruth and Naomi type of uh person when it comes to in-laws, and I love how their relationship was. Um, So when I pray for my husband, that's what I pray for, Ruth and Naomi relationship. But like I say, you got to be very, very strategic on what comes out your mouth when it comes to your in-laws and the doors that you open up when it comes to your in-laws.
Can I say something about Ruth and Naomi?
Mm-hmm. For some
I've been
reason,
sitting
the look
here
on your face.
because I've been sitting here saying, please don't say nothing. Just let her make it. Just let this slide. Just let it.
Because people need to pray. Because let me
No,
say
people
this:
do need to pray.
they need to pray because people. I feel like when people pray for their husband and their wives, they forget the attachment that comes with a husband and a wife. Whether it's, some people think about the kids, people think about the money, the jobs, or the credit scores and all that stuff like that.
So much more.
No, it's so much more. What about the family? You're going to attach yourself. You got people around here attaching themselves to Lord knows who, what, when, where, and why because they looking at that person. No, you got to look at where that person came from because it may be some of that stuff still in that person. People, what they say, a wolf in sheep clothing, they walked around all the time.
The apple
You
don't
hear
fall
me?
far from the tree.
Like, you hear me? Like, you got to really be real about the situation. And I think that nowadays people think about what they can get instead of what that person really got. Them spirit. Like, I'm like, look, I should have did if I was Bambi Scrappy. Your mama was a what? She was a prostitute. So let me see. You got some issues. You she sold dope too. So when times get hard, what you gonna do? You gonna go out and sell dope, or you gonna work?
Because I'm gonna go
Did
down
you
a
learn?
list.
Look, did
Have
you
have you ever been
learn?
broken off your bloodline? Are you a
Right.
bloodline breaker? Is that
Do you
curse still
believe
on
in
you?
that?
Let me ask you something. So when times get hard, what do your mind go to? I ain't say what you do. Where your mind go to first? Have you gone to therapy about this? Have you seen a
Hmm.
counselor? No. I'm talking about like somebody certified. Not.
That part.
I'm talking about like a real.
Not day day now.
So
Not Pookie.
when
Not
things get
Charm
hard, who
Boy.
do you run to? I'm
Yeah.
who do you vent to?
Who do you run to?
Before my time,
Nothing.
apparently. Uh, but
Pick up,
yeah, you have
y'all.
to go down the line and ask these things because they are very important. However, all that is true and cute, but I ain't forget what I was going to say about Ruth now. So I think that we have to be very wise. One of the things that you've been saying up for years, and I just decided one day, let me
He finna
read
compliment
about
y'all.
Ruth and they. No, I'm really not.
If he
Let me read about Ruth and Naomi in the Bible because I ain't never read it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even know where to find it in the Bible. But I've heard people talk about it. I've heard it talk. I've heard it taught. And I've heard
as
people
much as
say it
I
for
talk
so
about
long. Yeah, you just been talking. So I was like, oh, let me just look it up one day. Because, I've learned in my Christian walk, what I'm saying, that a lot of the stuff that we're taught, I've never gone to it myself. I'm just taught it. And so I'm just trying to
mm-hmm,
like de-educate all that crud and then get the
mm-hmm,
realness
mm-hmm,
stuff.
mm-hmm.
You know, my thing about Ruth and Naomi, and then people who say I'm looking for my Boaz. Don't y'all realize Boaz died like in the honeymoon phase? And Ruth and Naomi they bonded over the death, you know? So I think that it's very to me, because I'm big on words. I'm big on
But I
words.
think they bonded before
Well, let
death
me
though,
finish.
really. Okay.
But it's the death that really did it, based on what I read. The death
Yeah.
is one.
Right.
First of
Yeah.
all, if
Hold on. I
they bonded
rebuke
before or after, what
the
your
death
phone got
over
down
my
son?
husband. No,
Oh
I
yeah,
had to
do that
rebuke the death over my
because that's
husband,
what I was about to say.
Because that's
Regardless
what I
of what
did.
they bonded or when they bonded over, the
Mm-hmm.
man still died,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
it didn't even like they grew old together. He died like very early into the marriage.
Right. Right.
So I really want people to stop saying I'm looking for my Boaz, unless maybe you got the
He
power and
supposed to
you
be
trust
looking for
that you
you.
can get that because
Mm-hmm.
I had
We got
talked
a
about
lot
that.
of people. Yeah.
They got it back,
Got
but
applications in. Yeah.
even if even if you've prayed it, I just want you to rebuke death over your husband because let's not
Right.
look what you asked for. You
Yeah.
asked for your Boaz. Boaz died early. He died before his. I ain't gonna say before his time, but he died. I want my Naomi. They bonded and stuck together because what threw me off about it is that I was thinking, well, when a man leaves his house to to cleave to his wife, um, why were they so close, Ruth and Naomi? So I just thought maybe, oh, it's a sign in the Bible that we should be close to in-laws. But then when I read it, I was like, oh, wait a minute, no, they stuck together because they had something in common,
They
the
had a
death of the
bond.
same person. So I just really want people to be wise when it comes to stuff like that, because I
Mm.
don't think that it's by chance that I just randomly felt the need to study that and got that.
And you're
So,
right, because that's one thing that I did do. I did pray death out
amen.
after them, but when I say the Ruth and Naomi, it's not really dealing with, even though it is about the Boaz, but it's not
You
about
want a Ruth
them.
and Naomi relationship without the grief and the pain that
Yes,
you
yes,
just
that
want a
part.
bond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that part. So it's like the love that they had for each other, the way she took care of her. And TD Jakes, I think it was TD Jakes actually had a movie out on it at one point in time. And it just blew my mind on how everything just went. But you want to have that love for that person. You want to be able to trust that person. When I get down and sick and this is or whatever, what I mean, that was the effect for me. I want to be able to love you like that, like talking about.
And
But
people should. But I think that
mhm,
that love for people, it comes in where there are boundaries set. The love comes
mhm,
in where, because it's hard to love a person who's just, every time you look around and looking at you upside your head, they got some slick to say about you. They seem like they against you and all that stuff. It's very hard to love a person, although we still have to in that. But that kind of relationship, that kind of bond comes in where people identify, and it's not across the board for everybody. People identify um, what, okay, in-laws identify what is my role here, and
mhm,
you identify that not yourself. You identify based on your child and their spouse. Where do they need me? And then you go in and you say, this is good or this is bad. Because just because they
mhm,
need you there don't mean it's a good thing. I have a friend who I adore her for this. When her children come to her about their spouse, she literally stopped them. She don't even, how some of y'all be listening, and then when they get through talking, then you'll stop them and be like, go to God, because y'all messy, y'all be want to know what's going on. She stopped them early. She'd be like, don't even tell me anything. Um, because that's your marriage. It don't mean that she doesn't have, advice sometimes, but
mhm,
she knows by way of the spirit when to say something and when to not. And
mhm,
I think that that is very beneficial. Also, the spouses, child and spouse, have to figure out what is it healthy, what does it look like healthily for our in-laws, and how can we properly treat our in-laws. Um,
mhm.
where do we need our in-laws? And do we need them? Is this a good thing that we need them there, or is this something we need to work on ourselves? So it's not that we're trying to X out the in-law, it's that there's a place for people. You can work in a company
Mhm.
and you can feel out of place because you're working on the computer being IT,
You in the
but
wrong
your
position.
thing is like secretarial stuff,
Mhm.
so you feel out of place as IT, and it's not that you don't need to be in the company. It just means you need to go to another position. So people need to figure out what is their
Ooh,
position
I
in this.
love how you just did
Girl,
that.
the Lord gave me that one. I ain't that bright
Mhm.
going for nothing like that on my own.
It
So
was
it's just
coming.
that
I want to say it. Say it
you need
with
to
you.
figure out what is the position that we need to be in. This will make things go a whole lot more smoothly
Mhm.
because now there is more peace, and there's
Yeah.
peace among everybody. When
Yeah.
things run smoothly, when people are where they need to be, things run smoothly. When things run smoothly, there's peace. So when there's a lack of peace, it means clearly somebody is out of place, and it could be you, It could be your in-law, it could be your child, it could be your parent. Um, it could be multiple things, but something has to be out of place. Everybody should be happy when there's peace, not just one or two people. Everybody should be happy when there is peace.
Peace
Everybody
in the
is
valley.
peace at happy when everything is where it needs to be. So I just really hope people get it together because Jesus.
Yes, let's just be mindful. Know how to pray about the position of a person. Okay. We got to be prayer for the position. Mhm.
And find out who
Yeah.
needs to be, because just because there's a void, that don't mean you got to put your mama there. Just because there's a void, that don't mean you got to put your daddy there.
Mm.
Figure out who's supposed to fill this void. Because some stuff you going to your parents about, you should be going to your husband about or your wife
Yeah.
about. Some stuff you're going to your parents about, you should be going to God about. Some things you're going to your spouse about, you should be going to God about. Then there are things
This
you're
man
going to
here,
your children about, you should be going to your parents. So
I need to
we
keep
have
a
to figure out
handkerchief.
we need to figure out who is it that we're supposed to be going to and who needs
Mm.
to fill these voids. So that means you need to pluck up some people. So what I see is like slots. Now your mama might be in a slot, your dad might be in a slot, your spouse might be in a slot, your children might be in a slot, and you got 5 blank slots. Just because they in them slots don't mean they have to stay. Because they
Mm.
probably in the wrong slot. I'm gonna need you to pluck them out
I'm gonna
and
tell
then
you something.
figure out
Hold that
who
thought.
needs to go there.
Yeah, you know what just came to me? When you open up a drawer in the kitchen and you got the knives go here, you got the fork go here, you got the spoon go here. You get a wrong person, knife, they gonna cut
You know?
you. You supposed to be using the spoon, but you gonna get it to the knife. You gonna put the knife. You gotta know what to do,
What to
how to
do,
use
who to have where, who needs to be used where, and then set the boundaries, put people in place, get some boldness. My God, I was just telling Shontal before we got started. I don't know. I'm going to go in more detail about it another time, but I just don't know. I just have such a boldness now that I didn't used to have. Um, and I really wish I could just give y'all this bonus. Let me just like give it to you. Because you shouldn't just tolerate it because of who the person is. You
it.
need to get some boldness and put people where they need to be so that
Mm,
there can be peace, because at the end of
mm.
the day,
Peace and growth.
somebody gonna leave you. Somebody gonna
Mm-hmm.
leave you. Now let's not forget, you took your vows to your spouse. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now that's not to say you got to X out the in-laws, X out your parents, but your vows are with your spouse. So there should be peace there, because that's who's the household head of household are the spouses. Head of the whatever. I don't know, child. I just really need people to do better. I just
We're gonna leave it there. So
amen.
y'all, if y'all didn't get nothing off this show today, please, please, Lord, let them understand, let them been got the position of an in-law, and quit running your mouth to don't quit running your mouth outside. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna close this up today, and we're gonna believe and walk in faith that this podcast has helped
Somebody,
somebody, somewhere to
somewhere.
understand before you, and even the baby mamas and baby daddies, you got to learn your place. It ain't for your the grandmama and the granddad to be in the midst of the y'all with y'all children. Yeah, them y'all kids. Why I gotta drop my grandbaby off? You got to drop your child. See, that's how they get involved. But we ain't gonna go. We
I
just
was
gonna.
going to say I'm need you to close because I wrote down
Uh,
when you brought up about the grandparents, and I was ready to let them have it. So I'm
Cause
gonna need
you
you to
know
close
when
it.
you,
Don't open that
but
door.
I got to. I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna open it just
I'm
for
gonna
1
mute
second.
myself.
I'm gonna open it for 1 second because you don't understand the dynamics of it. When you open that door, when you invite the grandparents in, the if the child don't see y'all healed, y'all messing the child up. You messing the child up by bringing then y'all arguing and fighting or can't get along for some apparent reason, and now you got grandma and granddaddy blood pressure up. Work out your own junk, not for your all, but work it out for your kids. because they looking at y'all. Why I got to go to grandma's house to go see daddy? Why I got to go to grandma's house? Or why her daddy got to drop me off over there? It ain't for them. Keep them folks out y'all business and grow up. I was finna say something, but I'm gonna let it go. That word was finna come up out my mouth. Lord, I thank you that you hear my tongue. Woo! Hey, Reggie. So with that being said, we want to thank y'all for being on this podcast today. We love y'all and have a good day. Unmute yourself, Reggie. Tell the people bye.
Goodbye.